Good afternoon, Patriot pals. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. And according to the latest recounts, supposedly people in Arizona, a neighboring state and also bordering with Arizona, wanted Katie Hobbs' little mousy Katie Hobbs, Soros, Obama, Marxist-controlled Katie Hobbs to be there. Governor who, of course, will keep their border porous, and the people will just stop crossing in mass at least as much as they are in Texas, and just move over to Arizona where they have a friendly puppet. Unless, of course, things get worse, a proper word I can use on this platform. Unless things change or Kari Lake finds her way back, then that's going to be pretty good. And once again, can someone answer to me why we never hear about illegal immigration crossings in New Mexico? I don't know what that's about. New Mexico is never ever covered in the news on the border. Even California is where I'm left. Varna crossing. There is a border wall down here in San Diego. There's a little bit of room, but most of the immigration is coming through Texas and Arizona. I understand they have a larger border geographically, but how can we never hear about New Mexico? Is it because most people think that New Mexico, or lots of people don't even know that New Mexico is a state? I don't know. Okay. Speaking of immigration, the Democrats are not working hard to get their agenda, and they're working with rhinos. Remember, the unit party in DC doesn't care about you or me or where we want, even though we vote to have them represent us, or that's the story we're told. Democrats are trying to get Republicans to help them pass amnesty bill. A new report from Breitbart alleges that a handful of Senate Republicans met with DACA illegal aliens and open border advocates over the topic of amnesty. Here's Breitbart. A handful of Senate Republicans reportedly started talks with illegal aliens enrolled in and eligible for DACA programs, says House and Senate Democrats, along with corporate special interests. Allies hope to pass an amnesty in the lame duck Congress. So this is something that should be in the news between now and when the new Congress is sworn in January of 2023. This week, DACA illegal aliens and open border activists descended on Washington, D.C. in their efforts to lobby 10 Senate Republicans to join Democrats in passing an amnesty before the GOP tax to join the House that will secure them green cards and eventually naturalized American citizen. Cornyn, Politico Senators John Cornyn, Mike Lee, Mike Rounds and Pat Toomey held meetings with DACA illegal aliens to prevent potential amnesty plan to discuss not prevent. Let me reread that sentence because I flubbed it up. And it's an important sentence. Cornyn, Texas, Lee, Utah, Rounds, South Dakota and Pat Toomey, Pennsylvania, all Republicans held meetings with these DACA illegal aliens to discuss potential amnesty plans. So there you go. Around 300 DACA recipients are flying from all over the country to get their way. Now, nothing wrong with sitting down and listening. Right? You can't draft policy by not listening to everyone, even those that have a different opinion or a different side than you. But for instance, Mike Lee is a great. He's a good senator. I do like Mike and stuff. But man, I can't stand Mike Lee as a former UTAN about how he just shills for the B word, the visas and the foreign workers and what have you. So there you have it. At least it's not a Romney. Trump is back. President Trump is back. The Elon Musk kept his word, tweeting out yesterday that people have spoken, Trump will be reinstated. Vox Populi, Vox Dei Voce, boy voice, voice of the populace, voice of the people, the voice of God. So President Trump has been reinstated. You can go on there and you can see his last evil tweets talking about peacefully and patriotically protesting. Alright. If you are kind of questioning whether Elon Musk really is committed to a free speech platform on Twitter, then that he didn't reinstatement of President Trump was due to a poll and not necessarily on principles that he has talked about shadow banning and cutting revenue from, a lot of things, and as we saw before, he didn't reinstate AJ. Okay, let's continue with the news. Presently here. So President Trump back on Twitter now. Let's go to what President Trump has done over the weekend. He is blasting Merrick Garland, the horrible Attorney General. Can you just imagine how horrible he would have been as a Supreme Court justice? I don't like Mitch McConnell, but I'm sure glad in Mitch McConnell, whether you want to call it politics or not, protected this country from Merrick Garland being put on the Supreme Court bench. So if you missed the news on Friday, Garland appointed John L. Smith and a whole bunch of Never Trump heirs as special counsel to investigate Trump. They're gonna be looking into the document handling of supposedly marked classified information that the FBI seized. They're also going to be looking at whether President Trump had a part in the peaceful transfer of power to Biden. And President Trump had an interview with Fox over the weekend, and he called the appointment as the worst politicization of justice in our country. And this is what President Trump is saying. Let me read this to you, no editorializing. Trump noted that the latest investigation comes after 2 fake impeachments and former special counsel Robert Mueller finding no evidence of criminal conspiracy or coordination between the Trump campaign and Russian officials during the 2016 presidential election. I have been going through this for 6 years. For 6 years I've been going through this, I'm not going through it anymore. And I hope the Republicans have the courage to fight this. I haven't proven innocent for 6 years on everything from fake impeachments to Mueller, who found no collusion, and now I had to do it more if it is not acceptable. It is so unfair. It is so political. I am not going to partake in it. Trump said I am not going to partake in this. So very, very firm statements from President Trump regarding this. Trump also pointed out that Garland's appointment of a special counsel came just days after he officially announced his 2024 presidential campaign. I have never heard of such a thing. They found nothing I announced and then they appoint a special prosecutor. They found nothing and now they take some guy who hates Trump. This is a disgrace, and it's only happening because I'm leading in every poll in both parties is not even believable that they're allowed to do. This is the worst politicization of our justice in our country, of justice in our country. Wow. And of course, he pointed out that the DOJ has done nothing and has been silent on all the controversy surrounding Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Hunter Bidens are criminal many times over and nothing happens to him. Joe Biden is a criminal many times over and nothing happens to them. Trump urged the GOP to stand up and fight against the DOJ special counsel appointment. This will somehow be misconstrued, probably as some sort of insurrectionist statement by President Trump, that people should not accept the politicization of our government against political opponents to the current party. It's unfair to the country, to the Republican Party, and I don't think people should accept it. I am not going to accept it. The Republican Party has to stand up and fight. Special Counsel Smith is a Deputy Assistant Attorney General of the DOJ Civil Rights Division, which is one of the most highly politicized left-wing departments within the agency. That comes as no surprise. Of course, Smith said he will conduct the assigned investigation in any prosecutor that may result from them independently in the best traditions of the Department of Justice. You mean the great job barbering of justice, which has been crap since at least Bill Barr, if not sooner, or not earlier, with only pockets of brilliance. Plate Smith also pledged to exercise independent judgment and move the investigations forward expeditiously and thoroughly to whatever outcome the facts in the law dictate. I love how they're expeditious on this. They can't beat him at the polls. What they did in 2020 is not going to work in 2024. So the best thing to do is, if you can't beat them, eliminate them from even running. And that's what I'm trying to do here. They're trying to make a case of the President Trump can't even be on the ballot in 2024. Now, I want to, this is my show, so we can show a little bit more laid back, right? I ate really well for the last month and a half. Gotta get this Billy back down again. I'm fat and happy, folks. And I'd be a lot happier for country. We're back where it was just 2 years ago. You realize our country is in a better shape during the pandemic under Trump than it is right now in the recovery under Biden. I'm sure you didn't need a reminder of that. But even 2020, as much as it sucked, we weren't having rumors of nuclear. We weren't having rumors of World War III. Inflation was in check. The mood of the country was positive except for the haters who hated Trump. But those people are miserable, depressed, pessimistic. Haters. They're always gonna be miserable. Doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, or a sunny day. But the zeitgeist, the spirit of the country, was that of positivity, and now it's just a train wreck. I'm ticking. DeSantis. And then this is a person and he says I love Trump's policies. I'm just tired of Trump and I don't think we can win with Trump. Now this is a person that supported as the person that liked Trump policies, but never really cared for Trump personally. Okay. With our conversations that we've had over the last 6 years, he's like, I love what Trump's doing, just not a Trump fan, which is fine. You judge a person on what a person has a job to do, unless it's customer service. You judge them on how they're performing. The duties of their job, right? I've used example several times, and I will use it probably a million more times before. The guy takes me off this great planet. Some significant news. Well, we bid a fond farewell to Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, in the next term of Congress. She will not be standing for House Minority Leader, which makes sense. She is the only octogenarian to actually be leaving her job at this point in time. And for that she gets credit. She does not get a lot of credit for being a good force in American public life. She was good at vote counting. I will say that for Nancy Pelosi, she was very good at keeping her caucus in line. And if you look at sort of the periods of Nancy Pelosi, leadership, what you see is that there are a few sort of distinct periods in Nancy Pelosi's leadership. First, she became a member of the DNC in 1976, and became chair of the California Democratic Party in 1981. She joined Congress in 1987. It wasn't until 2002 that she became House Whip and then Minority Leader in 2003, while George W. Bush was President of the United States to Speaker twice, from 2007 to 2011. And then again, from 2018 to 2022. And folks who are saying that she's the most impactful speaker in American history, I'm missing out on Sam Rayburn. They're missing out on Newt Gingrich. They're missing out on a bunch of folks who are far more impactful than Nancy Pelosi. But when Nancy Pelosi was really good at was during the brief periods of time when she actually ran the Congress, she was able to shove through extraordinarily large spending bills. This was the thing that she was able to do. And she was able to move her entire caucus to the left when she joined Congress. She was largely considered one of the most left-wing members of Congress. Now, of course, she's been completely outflanked by the progressives, which in some ways is a sign of failure for her that she's not remained the vanguard of her own movement, but in other ways is a demonstration of just how far left she's moved to America, when there's an entire left-wing movement that is now to her left. And that is constantly critical of her. I will say that her handling of the progressive squad, just in terms of pure tactics, has been quite smart. But she's allowed them a lot of rope. She's allowed them to go out there publicly and say stuff, and then behind closed doors, she beats them about the ears and forces them to vote for the things that she wants them to vote for. Now, what are the things that Nancy Pelosi is going to be remembered for? Well, first, she's going to be remembered for the fact that she has essentially tripled or quadrupled her net wealth while she was in Congress. And that's the thing that people are going to go back to, is the simple fact that she is now extraordinarily wealthy, like a lot more wealthy than she was when she entered Congress, because her husband, Paul, is apparently amazing at picking stocks, just in coordination with political movements. And it's not suspicious at all. It's just that it's good. It's probably clean and good, everything's probably fine. In fact, you'll remember that just last year, there was a bill that was put up to ban members of the House from owning stock, so that it prevents any conflict of interest. And she's like, no, I like when members own. Yeah, I would imagine you do like when members own stock, since you've radically increased your personal wealth. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button to watch the next episode.